Hey guys, it is November 18th already, 2025, here with your after hours recap. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I thought today crypto did a pretty nice job of giving us a bit of an oversold rally, right? Nothing goes down in a straight line. That's just typically how it works. You stretch out, you rebound, you stretch out, you rebound, you stretch out. A little bit of a rebound today, and I thought MSTR with it was pretty good. I actually almost bought the BMNR remount on VWAP in the morning to play this thing as a bit of an oversold rally for a day or two or three was kind of my thinking, right? We come right back into these August lows. Things get pretty stretched on the short side. And then, you get a little bit of a rebound. I didn't end up playing it, but ultimately that was an idea going into today. I tried shorting Netflix just a touch. I thought, hey, maybe we're going to be rejecting the 200 simple moving average. And ultimately, I got in a little bit early, and then it started to consolidate, and I got stopped out when we got back above the 200 simple moving average. Super small position, 3% size, zero harm at all. So no big deal there. My TSM short from yesterday, nice little morning washout, afternoon rebound, and then, just kind of hanging in there most of the day. SMH, I thought today mirrored what a lot of these names were doing in the morning. Morning washout, higher low effectively at 10 o'clock Central, 11 Eastern basically, and then a higher low at VWAP after the reclaim, and then a nice little afternoon push. And if you looked at even an SNDK, which I'm also short from yesterday, did the exact same thing. So it was the same exact kind of a holding pattern, morning washout, little bit of a bounce, but really nice washout in the morning. Nice to see MU, same deal, starting to weaken up just a little bit, closing underneath the 20 simple moving average. STX, same deal, closing underneath the 20 simple moving average. So these names are the memory names at least, are starting to weaken up, but it feels like we are in a bit of a holding pattern, at least for tomorrow. We have NVIDIA earnings going on, so not much going on from that perspective going into tomorrow when you've got such a potential market moving event. Amazon, a bit of a negative, down 4.5% today, losing the 50 simple moving average, effectively filled in the gap from the earnings gap up. That's not so pretty. Google at one point was getting its butt kicked today as well. Not the biggest deal, effectively finished flat, but this one was almost down 3% today. At one point, Tesla was down 3% near the lows. Meta continues to see some lows. Now, it did rebound a little bit, but it did go and see new lows in the morning. Effectively a new closing low today because it still closed in the red. So again, when I talk about names below the 200 simple moving average, you do not need to own them. You just don't know where the low is. Is the low going to be yesterday? Is the low today? Is the low tomorrow? Nobody knows, but it is below the 200 simple moving average, so it is just best to be left alone. There were some pretty nasty gap downs today. I thought Home Depot, this was no good, and this one could very well affect the Dow Jones. Continuing a little bit lower, and one of the weakest indices effectively today, right next to the NASDAQ. And then Pinduoduo for the Chinese equities, a pretty nasty down day today as well, but all things considered still above the 200, but not the best action at the moment. And then Costco, I talked about this one yesterday, that it looked like it was going to start to roll over into a stage 4 downtrend. And then today, even when the market was rebounding, this thing not at all, and a close on the lows, as if hot dogs are about to go to $2 a piece. So not much really going on. You got a little bit of a rebound, like I mentioned, in MSTR. You had the tiniest little rebound in a cipher, but ultimately, which is a name that I'm short, it's just consolidating here, doing absolutely nothing. Could it break lower? Could it bounce a little higher? Nobody really knows. Speculative money still seems to be on the sidelines. And I don't really know what to make of this current environment. Gold stocks, at least Barrick, continues to act very well, hanging in there. And then oil names. I've been bringing these up for, I don't know, the better part of a month and a half now. And VLO, finally a new high here. Super move right into the close. New 52-week plus high, which is awesome, awesome to see. That is basically the highest close since April of 2024. DK, another name, acting spectacular. XOM, almost bought this one today. It's such a turtle, right? It's one of those where I almost bought this thing today trying to come out of this consolidation, about 118 bucks, and I would have widened out my stop all the way to the 50-day. That's just how slow it is. But the weekly chart on this thing looks absolutely glorious, like we will be going to see a new all-time high probably within the matter of a few weeks. Would just be my thinking. And you just had some nice action all around. FANG was another one, got picked up very, very quickly today. It looks like we are trying to come out of this stage one base as well. So there are a lot of oil and gas related names that are trying to turn up. COP, I saw it with a nice push as well. DVN as well, living above the 200 simple moving average. I would probably say XOM, FANG, and a name like DINO are probably my favorite for right now. VLO is another one. MPC is another one. So ultimately, that's the group that kind of has most of my attention at the moment. I do think it's acting best. The market is in a little bit of a holding pattern for NVIDIA's earnings. And then we have, I believe, the jobs report on Thursday. So not a lot to do from here until tomorrow afternoon. I really just don't see the reason to, get too aggressive on the short side. I mean, I have still been playing the short side because that is the side that is treating me best. And again, I still have Cypher. NEM is my only long. Oklo is still a short that I've got for a couple weeks now since 146. Rigetti, I still have my short as well, and I just don't really see any kind of power there that makes me want to exit. SNDK, I started in yesterday, added a little bit today, and TSM, I started in yesterday, no ads today. So not a whole lot left for me to do, but just be patient and kind of see what goes on with the market into tomorrow. So again, hopefully you guys all had a pretty nice trading day. And like I said, just be patient for these NVIDIA earnings, and we will kind of see what happens tomorrow after that report. Do we gap up and fail? Do we gap up and then the market starts to lift? Do we gap down and then the market starts to crap? Do we gap down and then we get bought up and then, maybe that's a tradable low? I don't know. What I will say is that the QQQ from peak to trough so far is down about 7%, which is great. I'm personally hopeful for more of a 12 to 15% kind of a pullback. I don't know that it has to happen. This could very well be the low. We churn sideways for a little bit and then we start to push back up. But for now, we're losing a little bit of speculative names. Oil and gas continues to be the thing that is acting well. Healthcare stocks continue to be the thing that are acting well. Lilly with a new high as well today and a new all-time closing high just continues to be an absolute monster, and of course that is helpful for the XLV ETF. Johnson & Johnson, another one, just absolutely phenomenal. So the XLV ETF is one of the leaders at the moment. So if you guys aren't comfortable trading healthcare stocks or biotechs or energy stocks, then you kind of just have to be patient. But I do not recommend looking and searching for lows on stocks that are breaking down. Let them come back. Let them show some strength. Let them retighten. Then you go ahead and buy them. Don't just go looking for the low every single day on a Meta or on an ASTS or on a Rocket Lab or on Rigetti, or if they're meant to go higher, they'll go up, they'll tighten up, and then they'll get ready for that potential next leg higher, because the idea is if you're bullish on them, that's the way that they will act. That's the way stocks act. They go up, they go sideways, they go up, they go sideways. That's how things really just go, right? You didn't have to own Johnson & Johnson way down here, right? You just had to wait for it to go up and to go sideways and then a gap up on earnings. And if you missed that gap up on earnings, then all you had to do was wait for it to go sideways. and then it just pushed up, and then it went sideways, and then it pushed up again. That's how these things move. It doesn't matter what stock we're looking at. This is exactly how things move. DINO, as an oil and gas stock, has been doing the exact same thing. A move up, a move sideways, move up, and a move sideways. Guys, it's just the same thing over and over and over. I repeat it ad nauseum. The last thing you really need to be doing is just hunting for the bottom on things that don't seem like they have bottoms. I'm sure they will put in a bottom at some point, but you don't need to be the one who owns it to make a ton of money. So hopefully you guys, again, all traded well, and I will see you guys bright and early for pre-market prep in the morning. Cheers.